It was in the spirit of singular golf visionaries like H.C. Fones at Oakmont, Charles Blair McDonald at National Golf Links of America, and Bobby Jones at Augusta National that Jack Vickers, an oil and gas businessman, created Castle Pines Golf Club in the Rocky Mountain foothills south of Denver. Vickers envisioned a club that could rival the best in the country, a Western version of Augusta National with a golf-savvy membership from coast to coast. To make the dream reality, he knew he needed a visually stunning course that was also challenging enough to host a professional event. He hired Jack Nicklaus to design the course and put him to work on a forested mountain ridge with views of Pikes Peak, 70 miles in the distance. The finished product was a juxtaposition of forces: manicured, parkland-style golf in a rugged, high-country setting with awe-inspiring Colorado panoramas, alternating with curated interior scenes of ponds, streams, wildlife, and flower beds. Over the last decade, another oil and gas magnate has presided over the rebirth of Castle Pines. Under the leadership of George Solich, the club has now become a fixture inside the top 50 on America's 100 greatest courses. It has undergone significant architectural alterations, giving the club now a chance for a whole new generation of tournaments, beginning with the 2024 BMW Championship. This is every hole at Castle Pines Golf Club. The round begins with a dramatic tee shot off the highest point on the course and drops nearly 100 feet downhill to a fairway that turns gently to the left before rising toward a deep green benched into a side hill. Though listed at 662 yards, this par 5 is easily reachable in 2 shots for the professionals, since the ball flies 10% farther at mountain altitude. A grassy barranca on the left, forged ages ago by rushing water after heavy summer thunderstorms, shouldn't come into play, but provides a clue to the natural forces that have forged the character of the Castle Pines property. The second hole offers another chance for competitors to get out of the gate quickly. The right side of the gentle dogleg has been cut back for a better view of the fairway, and most long hitters will play for position with something less than driver, leaving them just a wedge or short iron to the small tilted green. The same barranca from the first hole snakes up the left rough, and before the hole's 2019 remodel, it crossed in front of the green in the form of a dry, sandy wash that offered the chance of recovery for shots that came up short. It's been replaced by a new pond, and now any approach short of the green is a lost stroke. No hole at Castle Pines has changed more fundamentally than the third. This strong par 4 originally featured a split fairway, separated by a winding gulch, giving players the option of driving either right or left, depending on the hole location. The left fairway has been removed and replaced by cascading ponds, and the play now is to hit a right-to-left drive between the water and the fairway bunkers on the right. The green, perched above the water, falls several feet back to front and presents a diminishing target the deeper the flag is placed. The gulch, that used to split the fairways on number 3, is still a factor on the par 3 fourth. Tees are set on both sides of the deep ravine, and members who play from the right side must hit their tee shots over the hazard and 2 bunkers that front the green. New tournament tees on the left stretch the hole to over 250 yards, though from this angle, the shot is more direct into the depth of the green. Getting the ball on the same level as the hole here is imperative, since this is one of the more intricately contoured putting surfaces at Castle Pines. When Castle Pines was first built, holes 3 through 6 played across mostly treeless, prairie-like terrain with features that match the majestic scale of the landscape. The holes have matured now, but still convey a sense of open space. And the difficult 5th presents a wide fairway that narrows 315 yards from the championship tees. deep collection bunkers short of the green, and an elevated plateau of fairway to the left have been removed, creating a more natural-looking green complex where it's now possible to chase long second shots onto the putting surface from the left and use the contours to guide the ball toward the center. The sixth is the second consecutive long par 4 that moves left to right and uphill as the routing works back toward the higher elevations in the forest. A wide cross bunker defends the inside corner of the hole, and drives can be played in a variety of ways, from safely left of it to all the way up into the narrow neck of fairway past the lone ponderosa pine on the right. Whatever the line is, the second shot is blind to a wide, shallow, and frightening green. If it isn't obvious yet, you must keep the ball below the hole at Castle Pines. Downhill putts at tournament speeds on this green are reluctant to stop and have been known to roll off the front. A cute little hole is how Jack Nicklaus, the designer, once described the par 3 7th, playing off an elevated bench of tees. Though the countless who have hit their tee shots into one of the 6 bunkers surrounding the green and failed to get up and down likely have different words for it. The unique wishbone-shaped putting surface is really several greens in one, with a variety of micro hole locations, including one to each shank, each demanding extreme precision off the tee. No small feat when trying to calculate wind and mile-high hang times. The par 5/8 is a Nicklaus special, moving back uphill into the pines and bending right the entire way. Getting home in 2 requires a pair of high, powerful shots toward an elevated green that's one of the smallest and slickest at Castle Pines. Tucked inside a nest of bunkers, by the way. The green was formerly situated 30 yards short and to the right, but was recently moved to add length and to provide more sunlight. Nicklaus wanted this as the 9th hole, and for the clubhouse to be located just beyond it, but the remarkable front range views from higher up convinced Vickers to situate home base in the current location atop the ridge, a decision that every member sipping a cocktail on the 19th hole applauds. Though the 9th fairway is generous, the trio of bunkers strung along the left are deep and leave little chance of getting a second shot all the way up to the shelved green, and the water on the right is a penalty drop. A natural gully used to run down the right side of the 9th, but Vickers replaced it with stepped pools, setting a template for the water features that would later be added on other holes. Even if the drive is negotiated correctly, the green threatens to excise another heavy tax as it's pitched severely off the rear embankment and slides swiftly toward a false front on the left. The 10th is a formidable 545 yards with a downhill drive aimed at Castle Rock in the distance. The drive hangs in the air forever and makes finding the fairway a crapshoot. The pond in front of the wide green is lovely but lethal, and members know they can aim left of it and use the embankment to steer balls onto the large putting surface. Often, it averages nearly a half stroke over par. In fact, the 10th was consistently the most difficult hole during the days of the international competition. The 11th is one of Jack Nicklaus's favorite holes at Castle Pines, another gorgeous drop shot par 3 that descends over 60 feet downhill, falling an even greater distance than the 7th. The idyllic green, framed by bunkers, flowers, and pines, is positioned on the opposite bank of Coe's Creek, named for legendary 2-time U.S. amateur champion Charlie Coe, a friend of Vickers. It's an ample target, but small interior shells and pockets will complicate putts and chips, and back left hole locations are especially challenging. The mountain topography at Castle Pines provides incredible vantage points on tee shots, but the drive on the par 4 12 is relatively blind. The choice is to club down here to remain short of the 2 fairway bunkers, or risk tumbling into the forest on the left by pushing a drive aggressively past them. The right front of the green is open to a running shot, but getting to the newly enlarged back left section means that the 2 deep bunkers there must be carried. Perhaps the most elegant hole on the course, terraces of colorful wildflowers blanket the grotto left of the green during the summer, representing just a fraction of the 80 to 100,000 flowers the club plants annually. Playing from a chute of pines, the par 4 13th is another subtle drive to a crown fairway that bends left to right. Once the ball clears the crest, it will catch a speed slot and bound forward to leave a short iron approach into a low, beautifully shaped green, angled away from the line of play. The putting surface features a swale in the middle that separates the front and back sections, setting up several maddening hole locations. Not exactly a breather, the 13th is the relative calm before the coming storm of 5 decisive closing holes that include 2 par 5s. This long, 655-yard par 5 begins with a downhill drive that moves right to left. But the hole is all about the second shot. If players can get their ball in the fairway and avoid the deep grassy barranca in the left rough, they'll be faced with a decision about whether to carry or lay up short of the stream crossing the fairway, 70 yards short of the green, a hazard that was moved 45 yards forward in 2019. The longest hitters will be tempted to go for the green, but they'll have to avoid the water feature that Vickers added in the early 2000s, and missing the green long or to the right results in delicate little pitches into the quick, deceptive putting surface. While the 14th hole requires 2 powerful shots to reach the green, the 15th requires 2 finesse shots to find it. The drive on this short par 4 sets up like the drive on 13, playing slightly uphill to a crown fairway and bending left to right. The approach angle from the left side is better, since the hole turns toward another deep green, cocked against a pond with a slope that slides toward the water. From the beginning, the uphill, semi-blind par 3 16 with a demonic bunker to the left was so notoriously difficult that Jack Vickers' own brother, Jimmy, demanded it be torn up and rebuilt. "Over my dead body," Jack responded. Eventually, Jack Vickers did tear it up in 2015 and rebuilt it in the image of the par 3 16th at Augusta National over a newly created lake with a green turned against the water. A prominent ridge divides the green into high and low sections, and flag positions on the upper level are extremely difficult to hold. But when they're cut on the lower level, players can use the slope to feed the ball close to the pin, just like the Sunday hole location at the Masters. The 17th was always the pivotal swing hole during the International, a short uphill par 5 that players had no difficulty reaching in 2 shots to bring potential game-changing eagles into play. Though recently lengthened, the green is still reachable for strong players if drives can find the fairway and avoid the remodeled Callie's Creek on the left and 2 new fairway bunkers right. The miss on the blind approach should be to the right, since it's easier to hole out shots from the short grass on 17 than to sink runaway putts from above the hole. 18 is a monster closer at over 500 yards that plays off a shared tournament tee with the 9th. The left side of the hole has been remodeled with the addition of 3 penal bunkers that create a right-to-left turn. The photogenic second shot plays slightly downhill to a wide green set in an amphitheater beneath the clubhouse. Bunkers protect left and right hole locations, and the low depression in the center of the green is a popular resting spot for approaches. Putting out here will deliver both relief and disappointment that the round is over, but a cold beverage or one of the club's popular milkshakes await on the veranda. Though he passed away in 2018, Jack Vicker's spirit and vision continue to animate Castle Pines. Like its inspiration, Augusta National, the club is relentless in its pursuit of perfection and has spared no expense in striving to attain the highest standards in its golf course. Those efforts have paid off, and Castle Pines today is as good as it's ever been. Truly, a Rocky Mountain masterpiece.